Should Kamala Harris run for California governor in 2026 after polls show her leading? I'm going to give that a big no.
She's had her chance several times.
She should run far, far away.
Yeah, I think Kamala Harris would make a great president of a university. Not that she's a bad person or a bad candidate or she's smart, but, you know, it didn't work. And by the way, if she does, there would be precedent for this because Nixon lost the White House in 1960. And then what did he do? He ran for governor of California 2 years later. It would be the same scenario. And when he lost that one, that's when he said, you won't have Nixon to kick around anymore. And then he was president 6 years later, so maybe it'll work.
Welcome back to AllStarBuzz. Thank you for joining us. Before we start, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us grow. Now, let's begin. Kamala Harris's political career has been anything but predictable. From her rise as a California senator to her historic role as vice president, she's been a polarizing figure in American politics. But now, as speculation grows about her potential run for California governor in 2026, the question on everyone's mind is, can she make a comeback? Comedian and political commentator Bill Maher certainly doesn't think so. In fact, he recently joked about her chances, sparking a wave of reactions. But is this just another chapter in her tumultuous journey, or is there more to the story? With the Democratic Party in disarray and public opinion divided, Harris's next move could either redefine her legacy or mark the end of her political relevance. The stakes are high, and the drama is just beginning. Kamala Harris burst onto the national stage with a reputation as a tough prosecutor and a rising star in the Democratic Party. Her presidential campaign in 2020 was met with high expectations, but it quickly fizzled out, leaving many wondering what went wrong. Critics pointed to her shifting policy positions and lack of a clear message, while supporters argued that she was unfairly targeted. Regardless, her failed bid for the presidency left her political future in limbo. Now, as vice president, she's faced with the challenge of rebuilding her image and proving she has what it takes to lead. Her tenure as VP has been marked by mixed reviews, with some praising her work on voting rights and others criticizing her handling of the border crisis. The question remains, can she overcome these setbacks and reclaim her place as a leading figure in American politics? Bill Maher, known for his sharp wit and no-holds-barred commentary, recently weighed in on Kamala Harris's potential run for California governor. His verdict? A resounding no. Maher joked that Harris should run far, far away from politics, suggesting that her time in the spotlight might be over. While his comments were meant to be humorous, they struck a nerve with many who see Harris as a symbol of the Democratic Party's struggles. Maher's critique reflects a broader sentiment among moderates, who feel that Harris represents the party's shift toward progressive policies that alienate swing voters. But is Maher's take too harsh, or is there some truth to his criticism? As the debate rages on, one thing is clear: Harris's political future is far from certain. Interestingly, Kamala Harris's situation isn't without historical precedent. Take Richard Nixon, for example. After losing the presidency in 1960, Nixon ran for governor of California 2 years later. When he lost that race, he famously declared, "You won't have Nixon to kick around anymore." But just 6 years later, he was back in the White House. Could Kamala Harris follow a similar path? Some believe that a run for California governor could be her chance to reinvent herself, while others argue that her political career might be beyond repair. Nixon's story is a reminder that in politics, comebacks are always possible, but they require resilience, strategy, and a bit of luck. Whether Harris has what it takes to stage a Nixon-style resurgence remains to be seen. The Democratic Party is at a crossroads. With growing divisions and a lack of clear leadership, the party is struggling to find its footing. Kamala Harris's potential candidacy for governor highlights this dilemma. On one hand, she represents a new generation of leaders who could bring fresh ideas to the table. On the other hand, her controversial past and mixed public perception make her a risky choice. As the party grapples with these challenges, one thing is clear: the decisions they make now will have a lasting impact on their future. With the 2024 presidential election on the horizon, the Democrats are under pressure to unite behind a strong candidate, but internal conflicts and shifting voter demographics make this easier said than done. Harris's next move could either help the party regain its momentum or further deepen its divisions. Public opinion on Kamala Harris is deeply divided. While some see her as a trailblazer who broke barriers as the first female vice president of color, others view her as out of touch and ineffective. Recent polls show that her approval ratings are far from stellar, raising questions about her electability. But in a political landscape where anything can happen, could she still win over voters? Or has her moment passed? Harris's supporters point to her accomplishments as a prosecutor and her historic role as VP, while her critics highlight her struggles to connect with voters and her perceived lack of authenticity. As the 2026 gubernatorial race looms, Harris faces an uphill battle to reshape her image and win back the public's trust. So, what's next for Kamala Harris? Some have suggested that she might be better suited for a role outside of politics, such as becoming a university president. While this might seem like a step down, it could also be a strategic move to rebuild her reputation and focus on issues she's passionate about. Harris has long been an advocate for education and criminal justice reform, and a university presidency could allow her to make a meaningful impact in these areas. But would this be enough to salvage her legacy, or is it too little, too late? Others believe that Harris still has a role to play in national politics, whether as a candidate or a behind-the-scenes influencer. Whatever path she chooses, one thing is certain: her next move will be closely watched and hotly debated. Kamala Harris's story is more than just a political drama. It's a reflection of the challenges facing American politics today. From her rise to her fall, and now the uncertainty surrounding her future, her journey raises important questions about leadership, public perception, and the role of women in politics. As we watch her next move, one thing is certain: the stakes have never been higher. Will she stage a Nixon-style comeback, or will she fade into political obscurity? And what does her story tell us about the future of the Democratic Party and the country as a whole? Whatever happens, Kamala Harris's legacy will continue to spark debate and shape the political landscape for years to come. What do you think lies ahead for Kamala Harris? Let us know in the comments below.